All right, number 13 says some. So at least one vegetarian has argued that there are two individual sufficient. And so what does sufficient mean? So it's saying that there are two individual enough or good enough reasons for not eating meat. One is based on health concerns, and the other is based on the aversion to living at the expense of other conscious creatures. So we're saying, hey, either some vegetarians say that either one of these reasons is a good enough reason to stop eating meat. But so we have a point of contention. But suppose that eating meat were essential to good human health for humans. Then it would be less clear that an aversion to living at the expense of other conscious creatures is enough of a reason to stop eating meat. So what is this, an argument or set of facts? It is an argument, and our conclusion is going to be our last sentence, because we're saying like, hey, if this thing were true, then it would be less clear that an aversion to living at the expense of other conscious creatures is enough of a reason to stop eating meat. When we go into our question, it says, which of the following most accurately describes the role played by the argument by the supposition that eating meat is essential to good health? And so that's talking about right here, like if we were to suppose that eating meat were essential to good health for humans. So we want to know, what is the relationship between this sentence and our conclusion? And this, if we're supposed to suppose this, is almost as like a hypothetical. It's like, hey, if this were true, this needs to be true, or this is what our conclusion is kind of based off of, like, hey, this hypothetical. So A says, it is used to disprove the vegetarian position we should not eat meat. No, this red sentence right here does not disprove it. It just says like, hey, if this were true, what would happen? So it's not A. B says, it is used to show that two types of reasons cited in favor of vegetarianism are independent. Nope, once again, we do not use this to say like, hey, these two reasons are completely different. They're completely distinct different reasons. So it's not B. C says, it is used to disprove the claim that a vegetarian diet is healthy. No, we're not trying to disclaim that vegetarian diet is healthy. And that certainly isn't what our sentence that we highlighted is trying to do. D says, it is used to weaken the claim that the consciousness of an animal is a sufficient reason for not eating meat. I like this one because, yeah, what does this do? It brings into question, like, hey, if this were true, would the claim that consciousness of animals is a good enough reason to not eat meat be a good enough reason? Like, if we needed it for our health? And then E says, it is used to show that there is no sufficient reason for not eating meat. No, we don't use this to say like, hey, there's no good reason. Like maybe there is another good reason. Someone in class the other day said, maybe like you don't eat meat for a religious purpose. Like, yeah, our claim is not to prove that, hey, there's no good reason to not eat meat. We're just trying to say like, hey, what would happen if we actually needed it for our health? Then it would be less clear if it was a good enough reason for us to not have to eat meat. And so that is why our answer is going to be D. I hope that helps.